What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with a brand new review for Married at First Sight, season 18, episode 8. Episode was titled, what was the title of this episode? Chef's Kiss and a Rude Diss. So, before we get into it, you guys, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and then having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Married at First Sight, shall we? Hey, Penelope, how are you doing today? Hope you're having a great day. Mine will be better once I get off of this work clock today. All right, you guys. So I have no idea where I even want to start up with this episode because a good majority of these people annoyed the hell out of me. Actually, let's just. There are two people on this show so far. I don't know who I dislike more, Michelle or Ikichi. But both of them are working my nerves, tip tapping on my spirit. It is just, they're irritable. They're irritating. So let's see who we want to start up with. I don't know who I want to start up with. Oh, you say you working. I know the feeling. I got my work laptop literally sitting in my lap right now, and then I'm doing this with y'all, and my laptop just okay. So yeah, I know the feeling. So this episode, I guess we can start up. Let's start with the least problematic couple. No, they all problematic in my personal opinion, but let's start up with Carla and Juan. So with Carla and Juan, it ain't really much to discuss with them. We see them. So this week's episode is literally about them, having their friends and their families over to their home, right? So Juan was cleaning up the kitchen behind Carla, and she was like, well, your duty was to clean the bathroom, right? So then they were talking also about they're having a toga party. I was like, that's very interesting to have a toga party with your friends. But I mean, okay. You don't know her friends don't know you, but y'all having a toga party. Very interesting. But if it worked for them, it worked for them. I don't know if I would necessarily do it, but hey. And instead of him calling it a party, he wants to call it a gala. I was like, a gala? Okay. You know what? Do you? Do you? So then we do see as they had their friends over to the home, right? So they're just talking to, she's talking to his friends, he's talking to her friends. But they are both saying the same thing when it comes to the marriage after having a talk with the experts that things are a bit more easy for them. I was like, since when? I don't see nothing really easy with y'all, but if that's what y'all want to perpetuate and that's what y'all want to say, and if it makes you feel good, then hey, it's getting easier for y'all. Because that conversation that y'all had later in the episode, it didn't seem like an easy conversation with her asking how he wants to be loved or stuff like that, or what makes him happy or whatever she said. But whatever, right? So Juan does know that, when he says stuff, he can say some off the wall shit. And so he just needs for Carla to call him out and tell him when he's done that. I was like, okay, cool. So then with Juan, he's talking to Carla's friends, and he said that things are good. He just still needs to learn Carla. And so one of her friends was like, well, what does he need from her? And he says that he needs her to communicate with him what she needs. And so the friend was like, well, Carla has told me that she doesn't necessarily feel that you are all the way in this, so you can compliment her, right? And I was like, okay. So Carla is someone who needs words of affirmation, which is not a problem. It's not a problem. I don't have an issue with people who need affirmation from their partners. I think it can be a good thing, but then also sometimes I look at it and I think to myself, like, someone who always needs words of affirmation. I think that's, and this is not saying that that's what it is, but sometimes I feel like people who just always need that affirmation, I always feel like it's something deeper there that they're not really talking about and not unpacking. But it is what it is. Definitely tell me your thoughts and opinions about that, and we will go ahead and move on. So they did talk about, like I said, they talked about, what he needs from her. And he's talking about, cleaning up after yourself and all this kind of stuff. But she kept, my personal opinion, y'all can tell me what you think. It felt like she kept badgering him because he was like what his parents had. And it just felt like she was badgering him at times. And I was just irritated and I stopped listening to the scene. So let's move on to the next couple, Camille and Thomas. We were about to get through this episode, and I was like, "Oh, she's not gonna mention swag." Well, she didn't mention swag. She switched it up in this week's episode, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" The way she talks about her and Thomas, you would think that they are literally an interracial couple, but they're not an interracial couple. Y'all two are damn near the same person. I can't with Camille. So Camille Thomas and her Camille Thomas, her sister, they're going over to his brother's house for a barbecue, right? And they get over there to the barbecue. Like I said, I was cool at first until they started talking because I was like, okay, Camille is not, for once, Camille is not mentioning the whole thing about swag. And I was happy. But then it just went downhill because now they're talking about the different guys, the guys that Camille used to date. Camille didn't date guys the same color as, with his skin tone. She dated, darker guys, and they were loud and, outgoing and whatever she said, right? I was like, well, Camille, obviously your type wasn't good for you because you had to resort to doing this show. So I don't know what the issue. Like, you are really at this point kind of getting on my nerves, and then your friends kind of egged it on too, and they talking about, yeah, Thomas is not necessarily her type, and I was like, girl, what are we talking about here? Like I said, the way that Camille talks about Thomas, you would think that this is a white man and not a black, and not a man who I'm assuming identifies as a black man. Like, she's getting on my nerves. Like, I think, and then they keep talking about this whole culture thing. Oh my, like, y'all are acting like, okay, if they had placed her with somebody, like, if it was like a mem with her, with Thomas, and Ikechi with her, I could see that those would be possible cultural differences. With, if you mix a African American with an African, or someone from the continent of Africa, that is a culture difference. This is not a culture difference. This man just grew up man just grew up differently than you. I'm so over hearing this conversation. I am really over it. Ugh. So when they got home, they talked. So he's saying to her that he assumed that she would have dated a light skinned guy because she's light skinned. I was like, well, okay. I mean, I guess, like, I like that, but I'm like, okay. I was just, but yeah, so he said that, and then she asked him, what his thoughts were about her friends talking about the conversation again about the culture differences. It's not a culture difference. You two just grew up different. Like I said plenty of times before, It's just like with anybody else. You don't, no one, not everybody doesn't grow up the same way. Like, I want her to let it go. Like, she was really getting on my nerves in this scene. We've left swag alone for one episode, but now we're just talking about culture differences. It's like, girl, find something else to talk about. Like, find something else to talk about. Like, I really want to scream with her because, like I said, you would literally think that this is an interracial relationship, but it's not an interracial relationship. Y'all are both the same. Y'all are the same skin tone. Um, like I said earlier, obviously the men that she dated in her past that were darker. Now the skin, you have your preference for whatever you like, right? But again, like I said, her preference obviously must not have been suitable or good enough for her to marry. Because if that were the case, you wouldn't have signed up for this show, Camille. Please go somewhere. Then her and her friend, or I don't know who they went out and they were talking to him, right? And I was literally sitting there listening to that conversation. They were talking to that man once again as if he is a white man or he's from a different country. It was irritating my soul, irritating my spirit. I stopped listening to that scene too. So let's move on from Camille and Thomas to Madison and Ellen. So, you guys, the more that the episodes go on, the more that I believe that it is Madison and um, what's his name again? Madison and David that are the flip flopping couple. I really do believe that Madison and David are flip floppers, and I'll tell you guys why in a little bit. So we see as Madison and Alan in this episode, they went out for a workout. Again, I want to say this because Madison's talking about what she likes, but the thing is, like I said about Camille, you would think that Camille is with the white man, right? When it comes to Madison, you would think that Alan is a complete slob the way she goes off. He's not a slob. Could he? I mean, if he wants to tone up, he could, but that has to be a decision that he wants to make. And I think that, honestly, my personal opinion, I think he's doing everything he's doing to appease her. And I don't 100% like that. But, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think, right? So they went to a workout class. Alan was struggling in that workout class, but she was enjoying seeing him in this class, right? So I also noticed that Alan has nothing but really good things to say when it comes to Madison, right? And he's telling her how much he appreciates her. And he also told her how he wants to just, be able to spend time with her. So the next day, we see as Madison made breakfast in bed for Alan, and she told him to leave the house because she's going to be having a spa day for the girls. But in actuality, Alan's birthday is coming up. It falls during the week, so she is actually planning a surprise party for him. So I thought that was cute. I thought that was cute, and I thought that was cool, right? So we see as Alan got back home, Alan was happy, and he was definitely happy to see his cake. So he said he's never had a surprise party. And so we see as Alan is talking to Madison's friends and Madison is talking to his friends. He's still saying good things about Madison, but he's still saying that there's, it feels like, she's not giving a lot to him because she went out the night before, didn't even invite him to it. And I was like, oh girl, did you go out with David and didn't tell your husband? And then with Madison, it's like Madison, I feel like you try to find an issue where there isn't an issue when it comes to Alan. That's my personal opinion. You guys can tell me what you think and what you feel in the comment section below. And we'll go ahead and move on to the last two couples who, honestly, I want both of them to divorce. Let's start with the worst of the worst. Actually, they ain't the worst of the worst. They're top of the worst, but they're not the worst of the worst. Amem and Ikechi. Huh. So they're going to be having a fiesta for their friends and family, right? And they were having this whole entire back and forth with each other because Amem ordered fish tacos because she doesn't know how to make fish tacos, right? So Ikechi was like, well, all you got to do is just, cut up the fish and put it in there. And like, I know how to do that. Like, I could have done that. So he keeps saying he could have done that. He could have done that. He could have done it. And I was like, are you offering to do it? And a meme even took it the same way that I took it because the way he kept talking about it, saying I could have done it. Well, like I was like, well, motherfucker, do you want to do it or no? Because he kept saying that, and I was like, you know what? Shut up, sir. He was like, well, I'm saying I can do it, but I don't want to do it. Then shut up. Please put the up to the shut, sir. So she told him that her cousin was going to be coming over, and this is her cousin that was talking to him at the wedding. And Ikechi still has some, some feelings about that. I was like, sir, 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 go to hell. Oh God, I cannot stand Ikechi. It is something about that man that grinds my gears. So we see as everybody's coming over to the house, and Imam's dog was barking at people, right? And he was like, "Oh well, it's good to know that I'm not the only one he barks at." Sir, that dog is probably barking at you because he don't like you and you don't like him, right? He probably sensing something that he don't fuck with. So when Imim's well, not Imim, when Ikechi starts talking, I stop listening. Much like with other, like when it comes to when it comes to Camille and the whole swag and the culture thing, I stopped listening. I literally stopped listening with Ikechi because I realize he's not genuine. He's full of shit and he's playing a game. So with this, he's he's playing the game because I honestly do not feel that Ikechi likes Emem in any capacity. That is my personal opinion. You guys can tell me what you think and what you feel, right? So while they were talking, they asked to give five descriptions of each other, right? He started out good, but then he went and called that woman aggressive. I was like, excuse you? Aggressive? What has she done that has been so aggressive? I mean, the only thing that I could think of that she did, and it wasn't even aggression, she was just trying to spark something, was when y'all were in Mexico on the honeymoon, when that woman took that honey pack and you turned your back to her and she cuddled up with you. That is it. What are you talking about? She's aggressive. So then she goes and she calls him nonchalant, but he gets in his feelings about the whole nonchalant comment. I was like, sir, I would rather be called nonchalant than aggressive. Oh, he just irks my spirit. He irks my spirit. And then when he's talking to her cousin and to his her cousin and his wife, I think they were just asking him questions. Do you think that you can love her? And he's talking about how this isn't a normal situation. Da 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 da. I was like, if you don't sit there and you know what, he really irks my spirit. If you cannot tell that Ikechi irks my spirit, Ikechi irks my spirit. It's not a normal process, but you apply for it twice. Ikechi, shut the fuck up and go somewhere and sit the fuck down somewhere. That's all I gotta say when it comes to Ikechi. Now let's get to the worst couple on this show. Michelle and David. I don't even know where to start with these two. I do know where to start with these two. Expeditiously get a divorce. So they're getting ready for the housewarming party, right? Now they haven't saw each other. And the beginning of the episode, David was getting ready to leave out, and he left a note on the counter for Michelle, right? Michelle didn't respond to the note. Michelle didn't text him. Michelle didn't say nothing to him. So he brought that up, and she's like, "Oh, well, if you're gonna mention, if you're gonna mention what the other didn't do, then you didn't come home last night." I said, "Girl, shut up." Oh God, I can't stand Michelle. Michelle gets on my fucking nerves. Like, oh my God, Michelle just works my spirit. Michelle and Ikechi both get on my nerves. And I'm trying to figure out who I dislike more, Michelle or Ikechi. It's even. Oh God. Now here's my thing when it comes to Michelle. I'm not saying, and I want everybody to hear me loud and clear when it comes to Michelle. I'm not saying that Michelle has to settle for David. She does not. But what it is with Michelle is a rude ass bitch. Don't want to spell the word correct. bitch. She's a rude ass bitch to David for no reason. Hey, Miss Baythang, you said, hey JB, listening while working. You said, as I haven't seen any episodes of this season. Oh, really? So, um, I would actually say the thing with this season is it's not a bad season. It's just some people out here that are so annoying. But overall, I mean, I'm getting a little bit of something out of this season of Married at First Sight. So yeah, I mean, if you do want to catch up, and so you'll know what I'm talking about. But I definitely appreciate you for listening to my review, even though you have not watched this season. I would definitely say go give it a watch. Skip past the weddings and get right to the honeymoon. Oh, Michelle. So David is just really wanting to talk to Michelle and try to figure out what their communication level can be. David, there is no communication when it comes to Michelle. There is literally no communication when it comes to fucking Michelle. Just ask the experts for divorce. I really like that's also what get on my nerves with the experts. It's like y'all know what's going on. Y'all see Michelle is miserable. I am miserable because of Michelle. Michelle makes me miserable every time I see Michelle come on my television screen or my phone screen, whichever one I'm watching. Whenever I see Michelle come up on my screen, I'm like, fuck, why is she still here? You said thanks for that. Oh, you're welcome. Like, oh my God, Michelle just irks my spirit. So, we see so remember they're having their friends over, so David has his friend over, and when David answered his phone, I did listen. He said, hey babe. I was like, oh, okay. So David calls his friend babe. I don't know if that was that man's name or if he just called that man babe, but I was like, I've never saw that before, right? So when David's friend came in, Michelle's face is just scrunched all up. He gave him a gift and he said, open it later. Her face really scrunched up. I said, girl, please go somewhere. Please go somewhere. So David was talking to Michelle's sister and her friend, and he was telling them how rough it's been for him. And he asked what he needs to do better. David, here's what you need to do better. Ask the experts for a divorce. Don't listen to what her sister and her friend saying. Ask for a divorce. That's what's going to make it easier for you and for me and for Michelle. So, Michelle, it's so interesting when you think about some of these people, right? Like I said with Camille, you would think that Camille is in an interracial relationship with Thomas. When it comes to Madison, you would think that she's in a relationship with a fat slob. When it comes to Michelle, you would think that she's married to a broke ass man. He's not broke. He's just living at home. He just lives at home with his parents and he's saving money. I don't have a problem with that. Now, like I've said plenty of times before, he should have, before he signed up for this process, he should have made sure everything in his life was good, right? If you want to buy a house, make sure you already had that house. There's nothing wrong with saving. I don't see anything wrong with saving. That's a smart thing to do. Much like what his friend clocked the shit out of Michelle because his friend said he doesn't rent, he owns his house, right? And he's into, he has investment properties, right? And he said, whereas when renting, you just throwing money into a hole. And I was like, that is absolutely true. Every month you pay a rent, like with my apartment, I pay, my rent 1,800 a month, and I'm not getting a return out of it, right? Only return that I do get out of paying my rent is I have somewhere to sleep and and eat and do everything that I do. But other than that, yes, you kind of do lose money because he was like, "How much is your rent?" She said 2,300. I said, "Girl, for that apartment that we saw in last week's episode, girl, ask for your money back." And he said, "Well, my mortgage is 1,200." I said, "Sir, where do you stay at? That your mortgage is $1,200 a month. Let me come stay there." But I love the fact that his friend clocked the hell out of Michelle. And he said, David, it's not like David doesn't have any money. The only thing is David stays at home so he can save up. And he could afford to go and get an apartment if he wanted to. He can afford to go get a house, but he wants to do that with his wife and with his partner. But it damn sure ain't Michelle. So then we see them as they later in the episode they had dinner, and David is talking about how it's gonna be fun for them to go to flag football. And she's like, "Speak for yourself." I said, "Oh God, Michelle, you are so miserable." Experts, please get this woman off my television screen. I'm asking you that expeditiously. Get her off this TV screen. So we found out from David that he was sore because he went to the gym with Madison. And she was like, "When did you go to the gym with Madison?" I said, "Bing, bing, 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 bing. This is our flip flopping couple." I guarantee you that Madison and David are the two that flip flopped. The signs are there. The signs are there. So here's the thing. So David complimented Michelle on her outfit. This heifer couldn't even be bothered to say thank you to him. I was like, "Damn, girl, say thank you." Then she's talking about what his style. Oh, the tank tops can go, the jean shorts can go. Now I will give you that. Jean shorts is a no for me. I don't know anybody who. This is no slight, no shade to anybody who wears jean shorts, but hey, if you do, you do. And that was really it. I stopped listening to Michelle because she's just a miserable person. And then the end of the episode, you guys, we see the couples as they got together to play flag football. Everyone showed up with the exception of Alan. Alan was late. Well, Alan didn't show up at all because he and Madison went out the night before to celebrate his birthday, and he got hung over. And when they were getting ready for the flag football, he was cranky, and him and Madison had a little tiff with each other, right? So, and Mem and Ikechi, they were late coming. Michelle, like I said, miserable. The only thing that she found funny is everybody, you know, falling and having not injuring themselves, but just falling and stuff. I was like, "Oh wow, that's what you found funny? You'll go somewhere." So with Carla, Carla is talking about the fact that when she kisses, she and Juan, they kiss on the cheek, and she mostly feels like she's kissing her cousin. And I was like, okay. Juan says that he's just not there yet. Cool. He ain't feeling it. Ikechi, go to hell. That's all I'm gonna say. Go straight to hell. The fact that you keep sitting up here talking about, I'm from the South and she's from Chicago, so it's a difference with us. Her family's talking about joint checking accounts, and we just met. This is not a normal process. I said, "Sir, if you don't sit down, shut." Well, he's already sitting down. If you don't shut the fuck up, that's all I'm gonna say. You're from the South. She's from the North. What is the comparison? There is no comparison. Oh my God. Ikechi really irks me. He and Michelle are the most irksome on this show. I wish the experts would grant Ikechi and Imem and David and Flatface a divorce. That is all I got, you guys. If I left anything out of the episode that you guys would like to discuss, feel free to leave it down in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel, you guys. Turn on your post notifications and share the video, you guys. And I will see you guys in about another hour for my live review of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you guys. So stay safe, take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.